So numbers for the last 3 months and then goals for October. So before we go any farther, let's go over real quick. Let's see who's using their tracker and how is that working for you?
Yeah, it's working good.
Yeah, I like it.
Good. What kind of activities have helped you this week be more consistent?
The fact that I need to fill it out.
What activities are listed on your tracker, Tom?
Holy, hang on. That's a big document there. Hang on a second here.
Yeah, don't open the book. That's just for reading later.
I went to print it and I go, 100 some pages.
Yeah, 125 pages. Don't print that, baby.
What's on my tracker? Let's see here. We got daily inspiration, of course, review goals, of course, bucket list, which is looking at it, adding something to it every day, either myself or my wife.
Cool.
Because it's not just about me. One contact per day, new. And that can either be, whatever method it is, Facebook, whatever it is, I'm meeting somebody new.
Okay.
I had on for the last week, listened to the video that you sent, the link, 5 times, and that was quite simple to do. And then create 2 positive posts every day. And I've got myself a schedule that I put on my calendar in the morning that I do that. Because that's part of what I read every morning. It comes from one of the books I'm reading. There's always something positive in there.
Right.
And it's not just creating a post, but it's actually making a photo with that post.
Gotcha.
So it becomes an original content, so it actually gets found.
Okay. So tell me, you were borderline consistency and variety, right?
Borderline consistency and variety, yeah, probably.
Because, something you can do is utilize Buffer and schedule out up to 10 posts. So you don't have to do that every day, and you can meet 10 people all in one day. You know what I mean? Like, you can do those kind of things if you'd like.
Right. I've done the scheduling on posts before, and a lot of times I will create a schedule on a post, then I'll go back and realize, that may not be the best thing to put up, and by that time it's already there and gone. It's
Okay.
like, dang it, I want to change that post. Or something hit me. So that's why I don't do that. It's also part of the training I had too from previous business coach who was a social media teacher. And he always had the philosophy, I'm not saying that he's right, that a lot of times when we put a post up like that and we're not there to respond, people know it. They know you're not there.
Well, you do need to check in and respond to people that say stuff.
Right. Well, usually mine's a conversation that starts from that, and then I'll go off and we'll go on sideline and we have a conversation then.
Well, right. No, I'm not saying not get on at all. I'm just saying.
Right. No, I know what you mean. But that was back when Hootsuite was big. A bunch of these other scheduling programs were being used. It was like, people, I know you're not there. And so that's just something I need to change my thinking on.
Well, I'm just saying it's an option. I'm just
right.
So
I'm open.
Whatever you want to do is up to you.
No, I'm definitely open to ideas.
Some people find benefit in like taking one activity because there's something when you start and stop activities, it usually takes some time to start and some time to end. And
yes, so, it does.
If you kind of go out and you find a whole bunch of people one day and then the next day you're doing phone calls and the next day you're posting Facebook stuff, sometimes your start and stop times can save you some, like doing things in bulk can save you some time. So
right.
maybe time isn't quite as, you're not chasing little kids and, like Elizabeth and I, we kind of feel like we're stretched about crazy thin because we're keeping track of 6 different people's schedules. So, I might be a little more overly sensitive to that because there's always crazy stuff going on in my head. And maybe, because you're in a different phase of life, you're not chasing kids and stuff, maybe that's a more doable way for you to do it and that works for you. So just some ideas to consider. So Elizabeth, what's on your tracker that's been working?
I had on my tracker that I was going to make 25 contacts, and I actually ended up with 32.
Wow!
Yay, I'm excited. And that, oh, you're totally breaking up. I don't know what's going on with my thing today.
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
I'm like, I can't hear you at all. You're just like, ah.
Oh, no.
Okay. I think it stopped. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, keep talking.
And so that was my big one on there. And I ended up with all the little things that I had on my form and everything. I ended up with 65% complete. So for the week I had, that's really, really good.
Yeah, you've been sick.
Yeah, I haven't been doing well this week. So,
but awesome. You've ended up with a recruit, and how many bookings?
I only had 2 bookings with all those, but I have follow-up calls to make with 6 people that wanted bookings. They were just in the middle of whatever they were doing, and I was supposed to follow up with them last night, and I didn't. So that's on my list today, is to follow up with them today.
Awesome. So, I mean, you could end up with 8 bookings and a recruit in 1 week.
I know.
That's pretty smoking.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And I just, because I couldn't sleep last night, so I was up all night, and somebody posted on one of those direct sales websites, look, I'm looking for a new direct sales company. And so I commented, because there was like only 10 comments because it's 2 a.m.
Right.
And he's actually getting in on our opportunity call today, and I talked to him this morning, and he's super excited about it. So hopefully I'll have another one by the end of the day.
All right, you go, girl. Well done. Okay, so just keep at it. That's what you got to do. Okay. I'm trying to think what else I'm supposed to follow up on. Anybody start a journal?
Been journaling for the last month and a half.
Okay, journaling's on there. And you've done bucket list stuff, like you're saying, in motivational styles. Okay, all right, I think we're good. Okay, so goals for the last 30 days, your what's happened the last 3 months, what you're going to do the next 30 days. Now, let's look at the one becoming business minded, okay? So one of the things that I have realized as I've done this training is that people sometimes, or I take for granted that people know to go, okay, this is how many dollars I want to do in sales, which means we're going to have to do this many bookings, which means I have to do this many calls, which means they're going to have this many contacts to call. So we're going to break this down, okay? Yes, Elizabeth, there is a number to call in. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Give me 2 seconds, Tom. For some reason, every now and then, somebody's internet on their side isn't working, even though mine is. And it will just make it hard for them to hear me. And it's just a weird thing. I never know whose internet's not going to be strong enough. Elizabeth, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay, this is the phone number. You got a pen?
Yeah.
Okay, 415
Yeah.
762 9988.
I didn't catch the last 4
9988.
because it's frozen.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it? Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. So one of the things I want you to do is to know exactly what your goal is for sales for the month. And then I want you to break that down into how much activity. Now, Tom, where you do a lot of activity with one-on-ones, if you see here, you have the option to put down classes or parties. You call them coffee parties. I mean, what do you call them when you do a group thing?
Yeah, they're called a party.
Okay. So you have the option to break it down in parties versus one-on-ones.
Right.
And then goals for recruiting and all those things. But the other thing I want to make sure you do is put down goals for your personal life, whether it's time with a wife or, calling a mom or checking in with the child or seeing your best friend and golfing or, whatever it is. Okay. Oh, goodness. Just 1 second. All those things need to be taken into consideration. Okay.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about what you see yourself doing consistently to making sure your business gets to where you want it to be.
Well, to start with, it's meeting people, it's making connections, building relationships with people, and as I said in the email I sent to you, learning how to change my world from being production manager to being someone who is learning about somebody else and what their desires are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a complete time shift for me.
How's that going as you've talked to new people this week? I'm
finding it easier because I'm actually practicing of how I like when I ask questions in Facebook. I'm able to stop and think about how I'm going to ask that question.
Yeah, that is.
It is an open-ended one. You're allowed to stop and think, which I like about because it's not a live question. Like, oh darn, I should have asked that differently.
Right.
You can actually type it, erase it, rewrite it, whatever you got to do. So that's helping there. I'm actually going to be heading out today just to go see, who I can meet again. Like I did last week, I met somebody and about gardening, and we're going to carry on a conversation for a while because I don't think you quite get what I'm trying to do in that world. But it's a little interesting, and I've mentioned to my upline the other day, he was, trying to get me to do some stuff, and I go, Gary, back up a second. Here's what I've learned. Here's what I have to do. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I understand now. Because he comes from the other world where it's always helping people build up because he was a professor.
Oh.
I came from 37 years production. He comes from 37 years of being a teacher.
Right.
Whole different world.
Right.
For him, it's natural. For him to be a production manager, he says, I'd be totally lost. Would have a clue what to do.
Right.
So he got it quickly then.
Well, and it's good for you to have those realizations. So in shifting, because you were talking more at people, where now you're listening more probably than you did before.
So that's what I have to do. I have to make sure I listen, not for as to how I'm going to answer, but to listen to what they're really saying.
Right. Well, yes.
It's not always easy.
Well, no, especially because you were used to kind of having a schedule and agenda and things that had to be done in construction.
Hmm.
And that's probably mentally, okay, I got to do this, this, and this, and get them signed up. And you kind of have this agenda. And,
Right.
and honestly, you actually will do a heck of a lot more sales if you can let go of your personal agenda.
Oh yeah, big time.
And it's like you really have to make it all about them, and all of a sudden your sales like skyrocket. So let me tell you a couple quick stories. First of all, when I learned to do this, I had a title with my company and I'd earned a trip. Okay, so I was doing relatively well, but I mean, if you've been with this long enough, and Elizabeth probably relates to this a little bit more than you do yet, you can get so many recruits and you can be doing so much in sales and still not be making a ton of money.
Oh yeah.
Some money, but you're not necessarily, you're not making a regular kind of full-time income kind of money. So I really wanted to step up my game, and there was a gal that I'd heard speak at a leadership conference. So I called to see if she had any additional training, because I really believed in what she did, and I knew I needed to fine-tune my skills. So I got a hold of her, and they were doing a training. And so I started working with her and fine-tuning the stuff that I learned from her. But there were sometimes you like can read a book or hear a trainer, and then you like really work with them and you go, oh, I missed that step, or I needed to fine-tune this. So I started fine-tuning how I did things and asking questions really, really well. And I got really good at asking questions in a group setting. And it was really interesting because I've always been known as bold. Okay, that's just kind of my personality, and I'll say what I think, and sometimes that gets me in trouble, and I'm learning a lot more tact than I, did have as a teenager. But it's something I've had to learn because that's how I was naturally born. Some of us are extroverts, some of us not as outgoing. And I was ultra outgoing when it came to saying what I had to think. And so as I was doing these parties and I started out asking people questions, and I was doing scrapbook stuff at this time, and I'd ask them, tell me if you had 3 memories that you made sure were preserved in this lifetime. We all know we're going to, die one day. You had 3 memories you had preserved really well, and, your feelings about the event and the people there were on paper. What 3 memories would those be? And let people talk. And the introductions went longer than they did in the past because people were talking so much. But the interesting thing is, as I did that, and then as I went through my presentation and said, okay, Susie, you're going to want this paper for that memory you talked about. Becky, you're going to want this for what you talked about. And all of a sudden, people were telling me how, and they're like, wow, you're amazing, and you're not pushy at all, and you're getting us exactly what we want and we need. And I just remember someone specifically saying that you're not pushy at all, and here I'm watching my sales double.
Right.
And I wouldn't have necessarily said I was pushy before, but I knew how to get people excited about a product and sell it, and kind of use that more of a what's the kind of instant gratification or impulse buy kind of thing, or here's the 16 different reasons you should want this. Okay. We all can play on that. And that's the one thing that I would love to see Elizabeth play around with Pampered Chef. I love Pampered Chef. I've been to lots of parties, but they really go on the theory of here's the 16 different ways you can use this chopper and reasons you want this chopper, in hopes that one of those 16 reasons will connect with somebody. Whereas she could start out her party and ask people, what about cooking do you love? What about it do you hate? And as she's going through her product, Susie, you talked about that you just are always scared of knives and always cut yourself. Here's a solution for that. Or, here's a solution to having less bowls to clean, or here's the solution, whatever it might be. Okay. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what happens. Okay. It changes the dynamics of it. People start, oh, I have that problem too, or I want that too. And they feed off each other, and you kind of lose control for a little bit. Like you have to rein them in, but it's so amazing what happens. And I could recruit like crazy because I knew how to ask questions. I knew exactly what I had to find out about people,
Right.
find out if this was a good fit for them or not. And it's just amazing when you get good at this. So you just got to hang on to some of that faith that you're going to get better and better at this. And take a deep breath. And, you know, as you're asking questions and you feel yourself starting to want to tell, you know, a lot, just take a deep breath and go, let me ask you another question. Because I can do it too. And I know how to do it. And I've done it for years now. But it's really fun. Okay.
Yep.
So one other story I want to share with you in regards to goal setting. It's really, really important that you fill out this form and you know exactly what you want, okay? It's important that you know how much in sales, how big you want your team to be, all those things. It's really, really, really important that you put that down on paper. So one of the things when I had taken this training, they told me was you need to write your goals down, type them up, post them somewhere. And I remember thinking, I've done pretty well without putting down my goals. Does it really, can it really make that big a difference? But I thought, well, I'm paying her to tell me to do this stuff, so I guess I will. So I put down my goals, and it was like, we had 30 days in between classes. We had a really long time. So it was like day 28 or something. I mean, I totally procrastinated the assignment. And so I put them down, and it was late one night. I put them on my mirror, went to bed, got up the next morning, checked my email. Well, sorry, let me go back. One of the things that I put on my goal list was I wanted my first downline to recruit and my second and third downline to grow, okay? And I thought that I can't put guns to people's heads. You know, how do I do this? How do I get my second and third team members to recruit? How do I put that down as a goal? You know, I just thought, that's just not, I mean, I just kind of like had a hard time feeling like it was even the right thing to do, but I thought, okay, I'll try it. She, you know, I'm paying her to tell me what to do. So I put down how big I wanted my second and third team lines to be, and got up the very next morning, you know, with this kind of, I can't believe that I'm putting down goals that, you know, trying to get other people to do what I want them to do. And I open my email, and there's this email from this gal, and she says, hi, I'm the daughter of so-and-so who is one of your team members. I want to sign up under my mom, but I know she's just doing this as a hobby, and I want to make sure you're going to help me do a business. And all of a sudden, within not even 12 hours, my second downline grew, and I just posted it on the mirror, okay? It's just this law of attraction. Is God hearing your written prayers, which you're, you know, writing down your goals are basically written prayers. It's just amazing what happens. So put the things down. Like, Tom, your skills will improve so fast if you've got down exactly what you want. And you'll run into people in places that you didn't even plan to run into people. Like,
Right.
Really amazing things will happen. It's just kind of putting out there what you want. And it's an amazing experience to have. Okay.
Yeah, well, just the fact that Jen invited me to come to the webinar that you did, that in itself was a goal. So
awesome.
Because it's exactly what you're talking about, setting goals. As I said in the email, that was something that was not done in my family.
Yeah.
You know, why? I don't know. I'm not going to ask. It's not worth going there. But, well, I'm having to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So this is fun. This is cool. This is, you know, it's definitely pushing me above my comfort zone, but that's fine.
Yeah, I have this sweet lady. She's so cute because she doesn't look this old. She sells a product, and she saw a picture of my kids. My son is a freshman in high school. Okay, you gotta understand my son. My son was terrified of water. My son has a depth perception problem, had a real problem learning how to ride a bike, and he wasn't a natural runner at all. And the kid does triathlons, okay, which is beyond comical. And
biking, running, yeah, all three.
Yeah, right, okay. And not only that, but he's a freshman in high school, and you have to be in the top 7 to be on varsity. And right now he sits as number 4. And they're like, you're not supposed to be this fast as a freshman. And it's because he has incredible work ethic and he puts his goals down. And
Right.
between the work ethic and staying focused, the kid he does not play video games. I mean, he posts a tiny bit on Facebook, usually just liking other people's stuff. I mean, he does not spend time wasting negative energy. I mean, but he's always listening to a positive book, and it's just funny to watch him. So anyway, I just put a little success he had. I didn't mention anything about goals. And one of my clients, she says, now, did you teach him how to set goals at a young age? And I said, well, yeah, I did. He started setting goals at age 5. And she goes, and so she started tagging all these friends of hers, and she shares, and she goes, look what can happen when you set goals at age 5. I'm 66 and I'm just learning it now, but it's so fun. You got to set these goals. And I'm just laughing at my kid's picture of, his cross country picture. And I'm like, oh, he's going to appreciate me.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. He's kind of my poster child, but it's really, really amazing. It's so fun to see what happens and unexpected things. Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's really fun. I remember just crying and going, God, why does everything have to be so hard for this kid? And I still remember when I got the answer, he says, I need him to have work ethic. And to see the work ethic he has blows my mind, because he'll bike 12 miles to do a training for an hour, bike the 12 miles home, and then go to cross country or, go swim a mile. And it just I don't get it. I mean, he's amazing. So it's kind of fun to see. But, with that said, he knows exactly what he has to do every day, and he has a training schedule, and he listens to his trainer faithfully. He watches what he eats. He's really on top of it. So I want you to do the same kind of thing. You get to pick these activities and have a trainer that can help you with this. So just like you were doing, Tom, and see if there's anything else you want to add to this down here on this business plan or business, what did I call it? Business minded. Down on the bottom part, you need to have those activities that you need to do to make your business happen. You need to figure out those numbers. Are you, based on how many people you're meeting and how many deals you're closing, are you doing as much as you need to based on your long-term business goals? And maybe you are and maybe you aren't. I mean, I have no idea. But you just want to get really, really real with yourself so that you know exactly what you're doing and break it down. Because here we're starting a brand new month. And, nobody likes to get to the end of the month and go, oh, man, I really wanted to do, this much more. And here I have 3 days left. Break it down so you know exactly how much you need to do each week. The other thing is, if you know you have a busy week coming up, like, for example, Elizabeth has some medical procedures coming up, she knows she's going to be MIA that week, so you cross out that week and you divide it by 3 instead of 4.
Right.
Figure out what your goals are and if that's doable. Okay? All right, so make sure you get activities filled in there, divide them by 4, figure out how much you have to do, and know that you're right on schedule. One of the things I've been thinking a lot about, I looked up it. Do you have any idea how long it takes to fill a gallon bucket if one drop is dripping 1 second at a time?
A long time.
How long do you think, Tom?
Oh, it's going to take you several hours.
Well, it's still less than 1 day.
Right.
Okay, it's just 1 day, 1 drop at a time.
Yeah.
Okay? I know you kind of feel like you're sitting at ground zero, and you see some people who are high up in your company, and it's truly, they're drops. Every drop makes a difference. But if you wait a long time, they evaporate. You have to keep doing the drops consistently, but you're really going to be surprised how fast it can grow if you just keep doing those drops. And maybe even, figure out how to turn it on a little faster because you get more efficient at things.
Right, yeah.
But it's cool. Okay.
I've learned not to compare myself to others, because their life is different, their story is different, their situation is different.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that. It doesn't work.
No.
Unless you want to be really discouraged.
Yeah. No. I mean, but you definitely want to measure your own progress. That you
Right.
definitely want to do.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to creating questions. And this is going to totally just connect with what you already have been studying this week, Tom. And Elizabeth, I need to, was it you? Who was it I was talking to last night? You sent the recruiting script to. I'm trying to remember who it was. But whether you're recruiting, whether you're finding new clients, no matter what you're doing, this makes an amazing difference. And I have worked and worked and worked for months trying to figure out a tool to help people write questions based on their product. And this seems to be working. And I've tried a lot of different things. So what I've done is come up with starts to questions for you, and I'm going to explain how some of these work. Okay? All right. So the first question that is my absolute favorite question I call is the positive question. We all hope to find someone who just kind of out of the blue says, man, it would be so nice if coffee helped me lose weight. Or it would be so nice if I had a faster way to cook home-cooked meals, and they just randomly say this in the aisle at Target to us. Well, it just doesn't quite happen like that. And we're looking for that problem so we can come in like the hero, okay? Dun, da, da, here I am with the solution. Yay, gotta sell, okay? That's what we're all kind of hoping for. And it's a good hope. It just isn't always realistic. So let me tell you how we're going to do this a little bit different. Have you ever had a situation where you were venting to somebody about a problem and they came back to you talking to you about it, and they're like, I remember you mentioned you had this problem, and so I thought you might need this solution, and they bring up your problem, or maybe you've done it the opposite to someone else and you're going, no, it's not that bad. No, really, it's fine. It's not really that bad, okay? Like, do you know what I mean? How if we're venting about our problem, we can make it as big as we want. But if somebody comes in and tells, by the way, you mentioned this problem you had, we don't take it in very well, right? I see Elizabeth just laughing. Like, no, don't.
Work with seniors. I say work with seniors. You understand that quickly.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, it's tempting to go to ask, hey, have you thought about losing some weight? Or, that one's a little bit harder one to do. Or what do you not like about cooking? Well, no, I like cooking. Or have you thought about, wanting to eat at home more often? And it's like, we're fine. It just like, so what we have to do is ask a positive question instead. Okay, and that's a good way to start. It is asking, hey, tell me what you like about cooking. Tell me what you like about coffee. Tell me, what's going on well with your health right now. Tell me a little bit about what family dinners look like at your house. You want to ask a positive thing. So, Elizabeth, if you were to ask, tell me a little bit about what family dinners look like at your house, or why is eating dinner as a family important to you? You're probably going to hear this, well, it's important and we do it sometimes, but man, I wish we were doing it more often, and too often we just grab fast food on the way home, and right? Okay. When we ask a positive question, people like to be around positive people. So if we're initiating negative conversations, people, they just are more weary and they don't take to us as well. Does that kind of make sense? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you've been around someone that you met and you hadn't known for very long and you just kind of felt like they were complaining about this and that, it didn't usually make you want to associate with them again soon. But someone who was positive and uplifting and very, kind of, you can, what's the word? You feel hopeful and productive around them. You want to see them again. Okay. So a lot of times people will instantly bring up a problem when we ask them the positive. They'll tell us the good part, but then they'll tell us the part that they're frustrated about. Okay. So asking people, what do you like about coffee, or how often do you drink coffee? or is coffee something you love to do and it's like keeps you going during the day, or is it more of a social thing? Finding out about their habits and then kind of seeing what they say, and then we can come in instead of like a purely negative trying to find the big problem. What we can do, we want to make it sound like we don't really assume they have many problems, by saying, hey, is there one thing that you would like to improve on? Okay. You can't say, is there one thing you like to change, but improve sounds very proactive. Okay.
It's not so harsh.
Yeah. Okay. What's one thing you'd love to improve on? What's one thing you'd like to have easier?
People like to improve, but they hate change.
Right. Okay. And so asking that question and acting like there's just one thing, and you may know and have a gut feeling that there's 10 things, but when we say it like, is there one thing versus, hey, how many different things do you need to change in your life? Okay. We go, oh, there might be one thing. It just, and then they may tell you 6 things. Okay. But it's really, really cool to see how it works and how they stay engaged. Because honestly, what most people are fearing is either dead silence and they're guessing, especially for Elizabeth, we've been talking about her being on the phone. We hate those pregnant pauses and we're not sure what they're thinking because we can't see their facial expressions, or we're face to face. And this is what we're talking, you're engaged, what you literally hate. This is what most people are literally avoiding, is that change in their eye where they kind of like, oh no, they're going to try to sell to me. I mean, that's literally what you're like, you don't think they're going to swear and yell at you. You don't actually think they're going to throw rotten tomatoes at you. You know that there isn't anything really horrible is going to happen. You're just literally dreading that body language of, oh no, what are you going to try to sell me? Okay. That's what we're all scared of. When you keep asking questions, people love to talk about themselves. Okay. The most used language 400 times more than any other word in the English language is I. Okay. If you keep asking questions, they stay engaged. They don't do this backup thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you want to get so good at this asking questions thing, because they like you. People like to be asked questions about themselves. Okay. All right. So one of the things that, Tom, I know you've heard in this video, that's like I can't emphasize enough. When you hear a need pop up, okay, yes, I wish we were eating at home more. Yes, I wish I wasn't drinking as much coffee, or man, I wish I had, or, somebody talks about health benefits, or wanting to lose some weight, or whatever it is, okay? When you go through the system, let me tell you why it's so important to go through the system. If you've ever, now I joke with most of my women clients, Tom, forgive me, but you may have a friend or a boss or, even maybe your wife, but when we start venting about something and our spouse or a sibling or a good friend, someone that we're kind of close to, starts, oh, well, why don't you just do this, and this? Like, how many of us kind of like, it's like, I just wanted to vent. I just needed you to listen, okay? Even in that person's intentions usually are pure, right? They really want to help you. They heard you had a problem. They want to help. But we don't usually take it like that. We usually end up kind of feeling like, well, do you just think I'm stupid and can't come up with that answer? I mean, that's not what anybody's saying, but that's kind of what's going on in people's minds, right? Like, you think I'm that big of an idiot? Of course I tried that. I don't know what else to do, So what we want to do is listen to them and kind of validate they've tried everything they can at this point. Because most people don't know about Javita, and most people don't know that there might be this cool cooking tool that makes their life easier. Okay? So they're not stupid, right? But we just need to validate they've done everything they could at this point. So when you hear there's a problem, we ask things like, well, tell me how long that's been going on. Tell me a little bit about what you've tried so far to solve that problem. Okay? Something along those lines where they get talking about the solutions that they've tried. That's what you want to find out. Okay? The next question is really important how you phrase it. Okay? Because you're having this conversation because they said they still had this problem. When you ask them what they've tried, you then need to ask them how well it's worked. But if you said, well, did that solve your problem? Did that work? They might say yes, because they didn't know there's anything else out there that would work better. And so then you're kind of stuck, okay? So it can't be a yes/no question. It has to be, tell me a little bit how that's been working for you. Okay? When you ask it that way, then they're going to tell you the pros and cons, and that's where you can fill in the cons. Okay? That's where you can go, oh, I might have something that can, fix those things. So then you ask them, have you thought about trying anything else? And then there's a couple little magic words that I have found help. What I like to say is this sentence. I know someone in a similar situation, and I have this product I'd love to share a little bit with you about and see if it would be a good fit. Now let me tell you why there's these two phrases I use. Similar, because for some reason when we say, I know someone with the exact same situation, it just, no, you don't understand. I'm unique. I have this thing. Like, people love to feel like they're unique, okay? And then when we say, I'd love for you to see if it would be a good fit for you, that's putting the ball in their court. And they're like, oh, you're going to let me decide? You're not trying to shove this on me, okay? It's just seen and felt really, really differently, okay? And it just keeps people engaged instead of this thing, okay?
Right.
Keeps them in the game, okay? And their curiosity is sparked. They're kind of like, I wonder what he's talking about. Versus, hey, I got the perfect thing. Let's try this. I want to bring you a sample. Da, 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 da. Let me tell you why it's worked for me. They don't care why it's worked for you, quite frankly. They just don't. They want to know if it's going to work for them. Okay? So a couple other questions that you can use on a scale of 1 to 10 is one of my favorite questions, because we try to read body language, but sometimes we're not accurate. I'm someone who wears my heart on my sleeve. My best friend's an introvert, and she is so neutral the way she talks. Like, I have to listen really carefully to figure out if she's upset or happy, because she doesn't change a whole lot. And so if you're going on their reaction and what you think that they're feeling, sometimes you get really, because some people just engage and be really nice. And you go, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you like to know about some coffee that may help you lose weight? Well, not really. I just thought it was nice to talk to you. Or someone who's like really stalwart, and you're like, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, and they go, man, a 9. It would be really nice to know if that worked. Like, Elizabeth and I, we're animated. We're like, whoa, we're all over. Okay, like, people know how we feel. And in that, I kind of sometimes wish people were all like that. Sometimes not. But we don't need everybody to act like me. But you need to be able to figure out how when they say good, fine, all right, it's like, what does that mean? And some people are trying to hold back because they really hope it'll work, but they're scared. But so they're like at a 10 and you can't tell. And other people are just nice and they're like at a 5 and didn't really care. Okay.
Right.
So it's a really, really helpful tool. This 1 to 10. Okay. Things like, paint me a picture. Tell me exactly what it looked like if you felt healthy. What would it look like if you were eating, every night together, meals as a family? What would it look like? Tell me, how would it feel? And then the other one I call it polite education. You can tell somebody about something and it come off better if you simply ask, could I share some information about something I have found that works? When you ask permission before you start sharing, it goes over much better, and they kind of know psychologically they can't tune you out because they just told you, yes, you could talk. Okay. So asking permission before you share information is really important. Okay. So tell me which of these questions you feel would be most helpful to you.
I like to paint me a picture.
Paint me a picture.
Mm-hmm.
That one caught my attention too. They've all got their place. It depends on the person a lot of times who you're talking to.
Yeah.
As to how they will fill in the blank
Mm-hmm.
as to what kind of question you would ask them, and a lot of that you're going to come up with just in the conversation with them.
Yeah. Yep. And you just have to keep these in the back of your head because it's so easy. I don't know why we're so much more just inclined to ask yes, no questions. Now, you would want more family dinners at home, right? You would love coffee that helped you lose weight, right? It's just...
So that's a simple answer there. People don't want to connect.
Right. Well, I mean, I think a lot of them probably don't know how, but yeah. So it's kind of fun to see what happens. But I really want you to take your product, you take these questions and see how you would use them in your business and send me a list of your questions. And I can do some tweaking. Because every now and then you'll find yourself still kind of doing leading. I mean, you really have to stop and go, I have to be genuinely interested, and it can't be, I'm just trying to lead the conversation to talk about my product.
Right.
And it's one of those things, the more people you talk to, you can go, okay, I talked to 10 people this week, 5 of them were potential clients. I don't need them all to be potential clients. That's okay. And so it's kind of fun to see what happens. But you'll get good at this at your classes. You'll get good at this at your parties. You'll get good at this one-on-one, good at this when you're recruiting. And I'm telling you, it makes an amazing world of difference.
Oh yeah, I can definitely see the difference for me, definitely, because of where I've been.
Good. I'm glad. Okay, well, you have your assignments with putting your goals down on paper, what your sales have been, making a game plan, what you need to do consistently every week, and then creating some new questions.
Right.
Okay, and get those emailed to me the sooner the better. Now, I will be in Utah Wednesday through Sunday. I probably won't be checking email quite as much. I'm speaking at a domestic violence conference. I speak on human trafficking and pornography addictions, and then I have some family time I'm spending down there. So I will get back to you as soon as possible, but it may be not be quite as quick as when I'm here at home.
On that topic,
yes, sir.
Are you connected with the organization down in Vegas called Triple X?
No, I've heard of it, but
check them out. Get involved with those guys because they rock.
Cool. Yeah, I do stuff with, it's called Fight the New Drug. I'm usually a little more focused on the youth.
Right. Well, that's what they're focused on there in Vegas.
Oh, cool. A friend of mine
out of it, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah. A friend of mine, he's part of an organization called Burn, where they go look for the kids when they're missing. I do a lot with domestic minor sex trafficking. I have to talk more about the adult stuff and the laws, and speaking to like judges and police officers, and it's a little intimidating. I'm trying to like breathe.
Yeah, just remember that they're humans too.
Yeah, and quite frankly, some of them are buyers, and some of them think all these girls just asked for it. And anyway, in Utah's, I mean, very, very conservative, and they don't want to admit things like that are happening. So anyway,
I understand.
It's a little hard. It's okay. I mean, it's totally worth doing, but I'm telling you, I'd much rather be doing this, talking about this stuff. But it's my community service thing I do, and it's important. So
right.